Welcome back to part 27 of Pokémon Y. In this part we're going to be chilling out a little bit, letting it get a bit cool, and yeah, it's the Frost Cavern part, I got nothing. So yeah, I will say... Yeah, I know I deserve that. I will say I do like the dramatic pan away that they do in that town there, except for the part where I lose my bearings and crash into shit on the roller skates, but... Yeah, that's neither here nor there. Stephen, do you have any memories of the Frost Cavern?
Not much. I mean, really, there's not a lot to go off of at this point.
No, it's basically like it's ticking the box of an ice area.
Yeah.
Right? It's not quite as memorable as like the ice cave from Gen 2, at least to me, but it does kind of use a similar gimmick, as we'll see. That's one thing I wish they hadn't pulled back from the ice cave from Gen 2, but you know, this is going to be another part where we see Team Flare as well, and it's also the part where I don't actually think Team Flare are doing anything wrong, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Up first we have some of the other trainers that are loitering around the edge, including this guy that has a Vibrava that I killed very swiftly. Kind of a shame, because Flygon is literally one of the coolest Gen 3 Pokemon, at least out of the underrated ones.
Yeah, it gets so mistreated.
Yeah, like, I seem to recall at one point they were considering having a Mega version of that, and like, I think it was Sugimori that said they just backed down because they weren't sure how to make it work.
Yeah.
Which, I am unsure of what they would do to make Flygon, like, cooler, like, as a Mega version.
There's like many people like to think that it would become part bug, which would be interesting.
Maybe, but like, would that not gimp it a little bit, given it's already Ground Dragon, which is a pretty meaty type?
Yeah, true. I mean, I have come to that conclusion as well, but it's like Garchomp already exists and outclasses it in every way.
Yeah, like, a Mega Flygon could potentially be like a counter to that.
It's like one move I wish it had is Quiver Dance.
Oh, what's that do?
It is a bug move, but it raises the Pokemon's special attack, special defense and speed by one stage.
Oh, right. Yeah, so a bit of a buff.
Yeah.
Not bad. But what's going on here is this Mamoswine here seems a little bit perturbed, it's a little bit uncomfortable because of what we're gonna see Team Flare up to. But Mamoswine as a design, I want to talk about this because Gen 4, one of the biggest complaints it gets that I see around is that it adds unnecessary inferior evolutions. I don't agree with that for most of them, because like a good handful of the extra Gen 4 Evos are cool. Mamoswine, not so much. I'm not that big a fan of Mamoswine.
What did that evolve from?
Piloswine.
Okay.
I think Mamoswine is a great evolution, personally. I was never mad on Piloswine. Every time I looked at it, I always thought, you look like something's missing. You just look like a rug that's moving around.
Well, see, that's kind of why I like Piloswine. The thing is, like, Mamoswine on its own, it is not a bad Pokemon design. Just compared to Piloswine, it seems to have a lot less personality to me. It's like a bit too on-model perfect round.
It's like, I can acknowledge that it is a bit round. It's like, it would be nice to see a bit more texture to it. But other than that, I think it's a great addition to the line.
See, I would much rather it kept some of the, like, scruffy hair. That was part of the, like, appeal of Piloswine to me. Like, granted, Piloswine, I will say, is not a Pokemon I've ever used. But, like, I don't know, are there any games where you can get Swine up early game? Because, like, I think that's, like, one of the reasons it gets looked over, because Swine Up, like, in Gen 2 at least, you don't get it until, I think, the Ice Cave.
Yeah, I can't think of the time when you'd get it early on.
When did it come in Gen 4? Like, do you get it reasonably early there? Because I seem to remember seeing some Swine Ups there. I can't hold this camera still to save my fucking life. In my defence, when I have my 3DS hooked up to record, I have like 5 cables coming off of the fucking thing. It is hard work, but still.
It's like, Mamoswine and Yanmega are the only two Pokemon that evolve via ancient power.
Yeah, Lickitung is through rollout, isn't it?
I think so.
See, that doesn't make much sense to me. And wasn't it Lickitung that caused like a continuity error of sorts, or like a retcon, because couldn't Lickitung already learn roll out through like an egg move or something? Or am I thinking of something else?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure one of those evolutions that it evolves through learning a certain attack calls that, but I don't know. Look at this fucking cool Pokemon. Like, I love the Sword Pokemon. Doublade here, the second form.
Doublade is kind of... It's okay. I prefer Honedge because, like, really Doublade is just two Honedge stuck together.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's like... So... It kind of feels a bit lazy in comparison.
This had better show up in Sword and Shield. I hope the champion has an Aegislash.
I like Aegislash, yeah.
Yeah, because that is a Sword and Shield Pokemon, isn't it? So
that
would be
needs
perfect.
to show up. But then again, Sun and Moon didn't have Lunatone or Solrock.
Yeah, that is true. They've been kind of weird about them, haven't they? Because like, they were like one each version for Ruby and Sapphire, weren't they? And they were one of the ones that in Diamond, Pearl and Platinum you would get by having either Ruby or Sapphire in the DS's bottom slot and you go to certain areas.
And it's like, in Sun and Moon there is a guy in the desert who reacts when you show a Solrock or a Lunatone. And it's kind of implied, I think, that he's an alien.
How so? Explain.
I can't remember exactly, but that was the impression that I got.
Well, I mean, with this franchise, I wouldn't put it past them.
I wouldn't put it past it, so...
Well, I mean, we do already have aliens with Deoxys, don't we?
Yeah. It's like, Deoxys is pretty much there's stuff out there, but this is all we're seeing.
Although, to be fair, like the random alien out of nowhere, that reminds me of What's His Face from Part 4. Like, I think he was the one who was fighting against Superfly. Superfly, the guy who was in the electric pylon, the alien guy.
I was trying to remember what you meant by Part 4.
Oh, Jojo,
yeah, I just realised, Jojo, yeah. It's like Superfly, that's not a Pokemon.
Was there a story in the anime of Solrock and were they rivals? Like,
no,
in some way.
They just exist.
Oh, okay. That's
weird.
Maybe an episode in the anime.
They probably do. I mean, they're used by one of the Gen 3 gym leaders.
Tate and Liza use them as they egg one each. So basically, what that means is just have a Pokemon with Surf. You win.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does seem like a bit of an underused. They had an opportunity with Sun and Moon to do cool shit with them.
Yeah.
But basically what I'm getting at is I hope the champion uses Aegislash. I hope the champion is an XP for the Queen, because that would be sick. I hope she also has a Corgi Pokemon, because that would also be sick.
Bulldog Pokemon, perhaps.
Yeah, you would have to have a rough...
Grand Ball kind of fits that description.
A little bit, yeah, because that is kind of a Bulldog, isn't it? Maybe it kind of works against it being a fairy, but...
Yeah.
Why the fuck is Grand Ball a fairy type?
I don't know.
Snubble I sort of get.
Apparently,
purple, I guess.
I think Snubble is known as the fairy Pokemon.
Yeah, but again, why? I suppose.
I don't know. That's how it's been.
It does have that trait of being the ugly little dog that only a mother could love, and so they've had that
kind of endearing.
In a way, yeah. I kind of feel like it's got the pug thing going on a little bit in the fact that it's so ugly it becomes cute.
It's like it's abnormally big in Detective Pikachu. It's
how big we talking?
It's probably coming up to where your elbow is right now.
Right. So for reference, I'm sitting down now. What's that, a couple of foot? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like 3 foot tall, something like that.
That seems like it might be a little bit off-putting.
It's it still came off as endearing. It's I like you enough still.
Yes, here is the obligatory ice puzzle. I swear I didn't have to edit out any fuck-ups at all. But yeah, I'm trying to think. They had that puzzle in Gen 2. They have it here. Did they have any in any others? I can't remember. like, despite Sinnoh being mostly ice, I don't think there was explicitly an ice cave, was there?
Don't know about mostly ice. There was the ice puzzle in the gym, but that was it.
Was that a slidey ice puzzle?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, right.
It's been ages since I played it, but I'm pretty sure that it was.
Because when I say Sinnoh was mostly ice, that's more sight in Platinum than Diamond and Pearl, wasn't it? Because like, I did manage to get hold of a copy of Platinum, which is easier said than done, and I do intend to play through that eventually. Like, I've got a bit of a backlog of stuff I want to do for FC playthroughs, but given I only ever played Diamond, I feel like I should give Gen 4 like a better shake with the enhanced one. Because from everything I've seen, it seems like Platinum is the one that fixed the most of all like the third versions that they came out with.
Yeah, that's what I generally hear as well.
Which does make sense, because like, I'm going to give Diamond and Pearl a bit of credit here in that whatever my thoughts on the final product may be, they seem incredibly ambitious as Pokemon games. They had like a lot of, as well as basically completely rebuilding the metagame with like the physical special split and whatnot, and everything would need to have been rebalanced with that in mind. There's also the fact that they had a lot of pre-evolutions, a lot of new evolutions, they really big Pokédex on the whole, and so it feels like the sort of thing that would have got rushed for time, and the final product does sort of show that in a way. Especially when you get towards the end and like you got Sunny Shore, which is a bit of a mess all over the place. And there's a few other things like the dex balancing, you know, with obviously no fire types, everyone's ragged on it for that, and there's all these weird little quirks around the edges.
It's like that's the only thing I won't defend Diamond and Pearl from. That is literally it, just the lack of fire types. You've got Infernape, that's it.
Well, you've also got Rapidash. Everyone likes Rapidash, right? Like, I believe the extra ones they added in Platinum, they added Eevee so you can get a Flareon, because that's a load of use on it. And then they've also added Houndour and Houndoom. And I think there was something else as well, it might be Ninetales, but I can't remember.
It's like, I know that you can get Slugma and Magcargo after you've beaten the Elite Four, and plus Heatran.
Well, yeah, Heatran's like one of the big fuckers, and he's Fire Rock, isn't he? Or Fire
Steel.
Fire Steel. He looks like he should be like a rock type.
No, I see more Steel there. I mean, you got the whole grey thing with the helmet as well.
Fair one, yeah, I suppose so. Like, I can't remember much. He was on one of the like post-game islands that you were getting from this. Was it Stark Mountain?
I think so.
Yeah, because I remember going to get him back in the day on Diamond. He also shows up in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire in the Scorched Lab, which is in the little room just like to the right and down a bit from Full Trick. So that's one of the areas that you can surf to. For some reason, Flannery's hanging around in there, but then she sort of gives up once she gets to the second floor and goes back and just leaves you to it, which is fun. Great gym leader there, love. But yeah, like the other Gen 4 extra legendaries, like I feel like a lot of them don't really get used much. You don't really see much from like Cresselia these days, or like Darkrai maybe, you know?
Well, Darkrai, yeah, you definitely would, because everybody loves Darkrai.
Well, like he had the film, but you know, like I can't even remember. Did he show up in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire?
Nah, because mythical Pokemon.
Oh yeah, because like Cresselia shows up, but Cresselia's a bitch to get, because Cresselia, unlike the other Pokemon that you get from from Soaring, that's one of the Mirage Island Pokemon. So you have to get lucky and get it on a certain day to encounter it. Which there's also a few others like that. If you want to find the Cave with the Unknown, you have to wait for that to show up. And then there's a few others that like have other Pokemon. Like there's one that I remember you get Cofagrigus from. And yeah, like that's one of the examples of Pokemon mechanics that are a bit obscure for what they are.
It's like there's a whole storyline with Cresselia in Black and White and Black and White 2.
Alright, what goes down there?
Because at the end of Black and White, when you enter the post game, there's like a really long bridge to the right side of the region. at the bottom, and I can't remember the name of the bridge. I just remember it as really long bridge. But there's a girl that's on the bridge just looking out, and you go to interact with her, and she vanishes, and then you talk to an old woman who's just inside a building that's attached to the bridge, and you talk to her, and she says there used to be a girl that hung around here, and she had an Abra. And it's like, oh, well, she must have just teleported away with the Abra. And then when it gets to Black and White 2, that story's expanded on. Turns out she wasn't holding an Abra. She's dead.
What?
Yeah, she's actually dead, and it's like there's a thing. I think when you go to interact with where she is again, it's like you find the lunar feather, I think it is. It's a feather that's dropped by Cresselia.
Oh, right.
Or lunar wings, like that. No, it's not a lunar wing. I think that's a moving sun and moon. But yeah, anyway, you get the feather, and there's a whole story attached to it. You end up finding her old house. It's abandoned, and as you're progressing through all the rooms, it gradually builds up to the conclusion that potentially she was killed by a Darkrai.
Ah.
And she had lost the feather to protect her, because the feather is meant to protect you from bad dreams, because Cresselia being the counter to Darkrai. No, that was it. You find the feather inside the house.
Oh, right.
It's like you go through the house and you're exploring and that, and then you get to the final room, because every time you come out of you can only follow a certain path, and every time you come out of a room, suddenly all the furniture's been shifted around.
Oh, right.
And you have to follow the path, and then you get to the feather, and she appears and she says, please return it to the Pokemon that gave that to me. And then you head back to the bridge, and then Cresselia appears and you battle it.
Not bad. Like, I do like it when there's like that degree of subtlety to like the darker stuff in Pokemon. Like, one that I do seem to recall is in Gen 4 with the old chateau, and like there's obviously like all the ghosts and that, and you can kind of tell that everyone's a bit, you know, life challenged at that point, to put it in the politically correct term. But what I find interesting is in one of the bins there's an antidote. So like, did everyone just get poisoned and they didn't have the antidote with them?
Oh dear!
Yeah, it kind of makes you think.
It's like, I mean, it's probably just a coincidence, but even so, it makes you think.
Well, like, if you look at item placements and the unfortunate implications, there is always, like, in the first Black and White, where the guy who gives you the Flash TM jumps out at you from behind a bin.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I kind of get what you're going at there, mate. That's what happens living in a big city.
It's like the whole Cresselia thing, like, it sort of caught me off guard. It's like, a bit of me expected it, but it was also like, I didn't actually expect them to follow through with this.
I do like it when the legendary Pokemon do get a little bit of extra story. Like, I feel like we talked about this a few parts ago, but like, it's kind of, there's the balance between the legendary Pokemon that just, they're mythical, they just show up, and that's cool in its own right. But then when there is like the lead up to them, the event into them and that, then, you know, that it does give a bit of theming to the Pokemon itself, which is kind of cool. There's our boy Piloswine.
It's like, really? The only bit of scruffiness you get from Piloswine is more so the fur covering its eyes.
Well, like, I feel like that is the art style here a bit, because like, it's just, the model is a lot smoother. If you think back to like the Gen 2 sprite, I seem to recall him having like bits of extra hair and that just sort of coming off the side of him.
We'll have a look in a bit.
Yeah, we can do. But like, even still, he's like a bit of a dopey fucker there, and I like that.
It's a fine design. It's got some endearment to it.
Yeah, Chris, what do you think of him?
Yeah, he's just good. Yeah, I couldn't remember him when you first talked about him.
Yeah, it's not exactly the most memorable Pokemon.
I don't think the evolution's that memorable though either, is it really? I
Mammoth
like it though. Yeah, I do like it.
Mammothswine kind of got a bit of a like rebooting its life, like by existing in Gen 4, and like I feel like Gen 4 did help a lot of these older Pokemon that have kind of been off to the wayside, because also there was like Electabuzz and Magmar, which were just sort of extras in the Kanto decks, really, but then they got a bit of life coming in from having a cooler evolution.
I've always liked Magmar and Electabuzz.
Well, I say cooler evolution, I'm strictly referring to Electivire, not Magmortar.
It's like, really, the only way to fix Magmortar is via Mega Evolution.
Oh yeah, because like that could power it up. Why didn't they give him a Mega?
I don't know.
Like, I'm trying to think of the other, like...
It's like, I know that you like Rhyperior. Personally, not a fan.
You are.
I'm just not that big of a fan. It comes off as very clunky and just... It's like, I know you've ragged on at Gen 4 for the whole, like, over-designed aesthetic. I feel like Rhyperior embodies that, in my opinion.
See, I kind of get where you come from in the fact that he does have a lot of extra features that are arguably unnecessary. But I feel like he owns it. Like, compared to, like, say, fucking Magmortar. Magmortar, it just feels like they just, you know, overdid him, gave him the whole clown thing, and, like, he just looks a bit silly. Whereas Rhyperior, his entire design concept, he's meant to be a badass motherfucker. And so what do? You get him, like, make him really stocky, give him a fuck ton of armour, and, you know, like, he could fucking wreck your shit, and that fits his design.
The Magmortar can pull its claws inside its arms and turn its arms into cannons that fire.
So can Omega.
Omega?
Yeah, Omega can do that in 06, like, that's what I'm thinking of there. That was a great fucking cutscene, I don't care. And if only because of like how overplayed Omega was in 06, like with the sound effects that completely drown out everything else. If they were gonna have like a Mega Rhyperior, like firstly that would be even more over designs, which I would love. But could he just like shoot out fucking golems from his arms? That'd be what I want.
Nah, just do the Blastoise effect. Massive cannon on its back.
No, he should get like a fucking machine gun to fire out his like rock type Pokemon from.
I think one of the things that bothers me about its design is the orange plating, which sort of comes out. I say it comes out of nowhere. It needs the protector item to evolve, and it's got that orange aesthetic to it. So it's kind of like, so it's clad itself in this thing. But it does feel kind of out of place on it. And then they also throw in the massive wrecking ball on its tail.
Yeah, that's cool though.
Yeah, but it looks a bit plonked on. Yeah.
Well, so how would they naturally tie in a wrecking ball?
I don't know. It's more to do with like the shaping and positioning of the tail, with how stiff and upwards it is, with just like this massive ball at the end. It's like,
well, of course it's stiff and upwards. It's a fucking rock. What do you want? Do you want like some flimsy flubber rock? Actually, that'd be cool if it couldn't stop bouncing. The fucking Tigger Rhyperior.
It's like, I mean, I love the whole arm thing with like it's got cannons in its hand now that it frequently shoots Geodudes out of.
Yeah. Well, that's another possibility for like a Mega Evolve one. It becomes electric type and starts firing out a Alolan Geodude.
Well, I think that Alolan Golem is kind of hinted with that sort of thing.
Well, does it fire out its young?
I don't know. I think so. I could be making this up, but I feel like I might have seen it in the game somewhere, because it does have a massive gap on its back now that it can fire stuff out of.
Well, that is cool, because like Alolan Golem's design is pretty much like a walking generator, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that in itself is like really cool. Does it evolve the same way? Is it another trade evolution?
I think it is trade.
Well, I was kind of thinking that maybe if you were to get like a fucking overcharge item that you have to plug it in or something, that'd be cool.
It's like Alolan Geodude's fine. Alolan Graveler, prefer regular Graveler.
Yeah, and then Golem I could kind of go either way.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, they are one of my favourite lines, I'll say. Like, from Gen 1. Not necessarily in terms of their design, but in the fact that I've used them a lot in older gens. And I haven't used Alolan Geodude. I haven't used much of the Alolan variants. Like, I use a Lowland Raticate in my Let's Go run. Because that is really useful in Kanto, because it's like one of the few dark types you can get. So, you know, if you can pulverize any psychic type you see, because they've got no, like, defense against it.
I like Golem's design, but I've always felt it looked a bit out of place on the Geodude line. Because it's like, Geodude and Graveler, you can definitely see it. I like the addition of the extra arms on Graveler. And then suddenly it turns into what feels like a lizard hiding inside a boulder.
Well, I always kind of took it as like the smoother rock. Because like Graveler, it's got loads of rough edges, whereas Golem, it's like got a very distinct round shape, and that kind of feels like it's a polished rock.
Yeah, but it's just weird that Geodude and Graveler's faces are embedded in the body, and then suddenly Golem's got a head sprouting out.
I kind of see that a little bit, yeah. I suppose it's making him more turtley.
And it's weird bringing in extra arms on Graveler and then immediately getting rid of them.
That's a good point, actually. I hadn't thought of that. But I suppose, again, that is like simplifying it as the polished version of it. But yeah, I do kind of see where you're coming from with it. It can't, like... It's not basically Rock Machamp anymore, which kind of sucks.
Yeah. It's like, they always bothered me, and I've always kind of preferred Graveler for that reason.
I do have to draw attention to this ugly fucker right here.
You mean Mario?
Yeah. No, but like, out of all the Gen 4 evolutions that are over-designed, this is like, this takes the fucking cake, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm not mad on it. I personally don't hate it because of how stupid it looks, but it's like, if someone hates it, I'm not going to argue with them.
Like, if you're looking at it as a stupid fucking design, then yeah, okay, it does the job. But if you're kind of thinking, you know, you might sort of like Nose Pass and we're hoping to get something cool, and instead, okay, it's just growing a beard. Nice.
Well, more of
wearing a hat.
More of a moustache.
Well, no, it kind of gets a bit vague when it's covering its like face.
It's like, I mean, I'm assuming that's like lead magnetised to it. It's similar to what...
I thought it was like nose hair.
No, because it's rock steel. It's like, I think it's meant to be like lead magnetised to it.
I am going to fucking kill this ugly piece of shit.
What even is it?
I don't know why you hate Cryogonal so much.
It deserved that. Look at it. What even is it?
It's an angry snowflake.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, good. It can't postpone on its Tumblr anymore, so it's got to stay angry.
I like Cryogonal.
Why?
Because it's like you take like the simplest aspect of ice, and they actually managed to make it interesting.
It's not though. It has no kind of personality. Like, you can say, like, I know a lot of people aren't a fan of the Pokemon based on items and that, but at least, like, you know, you look at Trubbish, you look at Voltorb and that, they've got a little bit of personality to them, just from like the way they look and whatnot.
I am actually okay with Trubbish and Garbodor. I think
they're okay.
I think they use that aspect really well.
Like, they're got a bit more to them than, like, say, Muck.
Yeah.
But, like, Cryogonal, it's just... Like, the one thing I can say I like about Cryogonal is they can learn Attract despite being genderless, and so therefore it is forever alone, it will never be happy, and it fucking deserves it for being such a piece of shit, hideous design.
Your irrational hatred towards it echoes how I feel about Volbeat and Illumise.
Well, they're pieces of shit too, but even there, like, you look at them and there's something there. They're like a little bug thing, you know. There's a little bit of, you know, it's got a bit of animalistic thing. Like, it's got that kind of thing where I wouldn't want it to get hurt purely on my own. You know, I don't like seeing animals and creatures getting hurt. That's just my thing. Whereas Cryogonal, beat the living shit out of it. It's like a punching bag.
I don't know why you... Volbeat and Illumos kind of disturb me in a way because they've got these human-like faces on them, but they're bugs.
Yeah, I guess.
And they've got these short, stubby bodies that look like they can't do anything with them. And then Volbeat kind of looks like it's choking on a tumour that's wrapped around its neck. Yeah.
Although saying that you could also get creeped out by Greninja's tongue.
Yeah, I know, but that kind of goes along with the whole frog aesthetic, so...
Yeah. I want to draw attention to what's going on in the plot here, because Basically, Team Flare's plot here, they are coming to catch the Abomasnow that you see there. What are they doing wrong there? It's a wild Pokemon. What they've done wrong up to this point, okay, they're using the Pokeballs they stole from the factory, but in terms of actually just going out and trying to catch the Abomasnow, that's like what everyone else does.
Oh right, yeah.
I don't get it, you know?
I never thought about it. I just skimmed through it.
But like, I guess
We're the baddies.
yeah, like really, like they just kind of catch the Pokemon like anyone else would. But
I'm just doing what a trainer does, guys. Let's go.
like yeah, like we're still bitter about the fact they stole the Pokeballs, but you know, like as it actually goes, we can't get extra defensive over this one particular Abomasnow. Like there was kind of build up in the fact that it's making the Mamoswine uncomfortable because apparently the Abomasnow's looking after the area or whatever, but like it's just a wild Pokemon. You can't really get that protective over it. But Abomasnow as a Pokemon, I actually kind of like its design. It's just a shame that it's so weak against fire, which is a fairly common type.
I mean, it gets a buff with its Mega Evolution.
I can't even remember what its Mega Evo looks like.
It's okay. It's like it's hunched over. And it's got like icicles sprouting out from its back.
Does it change type at all?
No, it's still the same type.
So it still does have the fire can kill it.
Yeah, unfortunately. So it's not the most useful of the Mega Evolutions, unfortunately.
Nah, but I suppose purely on the basis of it's like a slightly cooler Abomasnow, I take it. You know, that's got that going for it. And I heard someone mispronounce it as a Abomasnow once, and I can never shake that. So, but yeah, like we knock the fucker down when he's just trying to catch a Pokemon. Like, what are we even doing?
It's
here?
like, you leave these wild Pokemon alone. Let them thrive in their environment. And the Abomasnow is just like, yeah, thanks, mate. And then you lob an Ultra Ball in its face.
Ignore the fact that I caught a pile of swine on the way down here.
Yeah.
The fuck is up with like VR goggles there?
I don't know. Team Flare is just awful in this game.
How do they rate as a Pokemon team?
I think they're the worst in my opinion.
They're just there.
They are my least favourite. They do just kind of feel like they're there.
They are ticking the box of like, okay, we want some bad guys.
I mean, their design is only memorable for the fact of always thinking of them as being unmemorable. It kind of goes full circle.
Basically, like they're so mundane we remember them. It's like the Sonic rivals of Pokemon teams, really. But yeah, like if we go through them, like Team Rocket, like you know, they're very simple in what they do. They're like the mafia, and that kind of it fills their role.
You look at the grunts and that, and you think they're thieves.
Yeah, basically, that's kind of. Like they've got a body count, which I suppose that's kind of makes them that little bit more evil. But beyond the like Marowak, that's kind of it. Then you got like Team Aqua and Team Magma, which their plan is fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's really stupid, and but it's like aesthetically they look fine, they look good, and they got improved in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
Their designs got improved, but I'm not too keen on the actual art that they got because it feels like a lot of proportions, especially if you look at like the Team Aqua bodysuit things that are really odd. But that was the era where they kind of had someone else doing the official art. It wasn't Sugimori doing it, and the new art was a little bit off.
I think they look fine.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the characters' designs are more interesting than the Ruby and Sapphire ones, but you know that's kind of where it starts for me.
Archie and Maxie certainly look a lot better. They've got a lot more personality in that, and even their admins look a whole lot better.
Like, granted, I partially agree with that because Courtney is waifu as fuck. But, like, you know, they actually do develop them out a little bit more.
And even at least the grunts, when you look at them, it's like their aesthetic matches the whole theme of Team Magma and Team Aqua.
They look a bit more threatening rather than just guys in fucking teddy bear costumes.
Like Aqua's design is a lot more brutal in a sense. Because, like, looking at Archie's design, he's a lot more muscular and tougher. than Maxie, is it?
Yeah.
And then you look at Maxie, he's a lot more intellectual.
He's the
that.
nerd,
Yeah, he's the nerd. And everyone else, it's like their uniforms are a lot more cleaner.
And then they still went back and used the old Dimension designs in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon.
That's weird.
Well, it makes sense in context, but still, we have these better designs. So we're going to go back to the old ones.
And then you get Team Galactic, they've got this sort of space design, and they've all got...
They look stupid.
They look stupid, but they've got this sort of uniform aesthetic to them. The girls and the guys look identical, which I find amusing.
Yeah, they're basically that.
But like, even the admins look great for them, and Cyrus looks intimidating.
Cyrus is a threatening looking dude, yeah.
It's like he looks really intelligent, and you don't want to get in his way either, otherwise he might deck you.
Basically, yeah. I think we should carry this on in the next part. So, ladies and gentlemen, join us next time where we'll be going on a little bit of a snow track. See you then.